Hello, I am live and I'm going to turn my light down a bit, which is not something a visibility specialist should really say, but physically turn my light down so I don't have a big yellow face. So today I wanted to talk to you about selling with style. Now, there's a few things I need to explain very quickly. This video is streaming live as I speak to you now. And of course, if you're listening back on the replay, it isn't, which is a stupid thing to say. It is part of a series of videos that I have been doing just personally since February 2023. I decided that I wanted to find my own edges when it came to video, when it came to broadcasting, when it came to live streaming. And I knew that if I set myself a task of doing a video a day, that it wouldn't necessarily stretch me. I know all of the quick ways around, the stockpiling, I'll do one just in case. So I was looking for a way to really identify where some of my clients are when they come to me, and they are not always nervous or frightened or scared or underconfident. Sometimes, and quite often they're really badass, to use an American word. But some of the things that they sometimes struggle with is putting themselves out in front of certain audiences, putting themselves out in front of old work colleagues, putting their voice out and themselves out in front of, families, people they know, people they don't know. And it was interesting because somebody said to me today in a conversation, a thing that I hear a lot: I can speak in front of thousands of people. I do my own Facebook lives, but when it comes to sharing personally, I feel some way about it. So I decided, for no other reason than to stream live, to set myself a challenge to do 365 consecutive days of live. So by the time I finish this live stream, I'm actually going to add the hashtags. And there's a special reason for this, because this is day 311, y'all. 311, which means that I've got 54 more of these to do, which is amazing. It is amazing. But today I'm streaming it, not just on my personal Facebook page. Yes, my personal one. I'm also streaming it on the Queen of Being Seen page as well. It's public on my personal page. It's hopefully public on the Queen of Being Seen page. And if you are a Facebook person or dip in every now and then, you'll find me by going onto Facebook and typing in the @ visibility vibe without the S. And my page, Jenny Kovacs, the Queen of Being Seen, as it says along there, Jenny Kovacs, Visibility Queen. And underneath, can you see that? The Queen of Being Seen. You'll find me there. Hopefully you won't mistake me. So because of the fact that I'm streaming this, not only on my personal and professional Facebook page, I'm also streaming this live on LinkedIn. Sorry, LinkedIn, if you've got a really kind of dodgy face. Sorry to all my seasoned professionals, the corporates and all of that. But I think you've got to know that I am authentic online and I humanize this experience, because we've all had the very stoic presentations and things like that. So because this is also streaming to LinkedIn, I can go over 10 minutes, but I'm going to try and keep it short, sharp and sweet. I wanted to talk about selling with style because another conversation that I was having today was unwrapping, if you like, some of the things around sales. And it's the time of year where more people are buying stuff, more people are selling stuff. For those of us who celebrate Christmas, that's happening. So there's present buying, voucher buying, card buying, all sorts of buying, food buying. And it was really, really interesting. So without divulging who the person was or anything else like that, and I did tell them that I was going to speak about this, they came across a scenario where there was something that they wanted to buy. Now, as it happens, it's not a physical product, it was a service. And I thought this is so relevant to many of the conversations I have, around being visible and visibility, the act of visibility itself. But if any of you know my system, the Vibe system, it's 5 key pillars. And underneath those key pillars are smaller parts. But underneath the 5th pillar is sales. For some of the people I work with, it's important that they sell themselves. They're employed professionals. They need to, contribute in meetings. Sometimes it's 360-degree feedback. and other things like that. So their ability to sell needs to be able to sell themselves. You know, on a training that I rolled out for a very gorgeous organisation, the International Compliance Association, which they've got on their Learning Hub, by the way. So if you are a member, go and take a look at it. I talked about the fact that as a compliance professional, sometimes you're safeguarding the business. Often you are safeguarding the business. So sometimes you're seen as the person that always has to say no. And if you're the person who feels like you're bumping heads, one person says yes, you know, one department says yes, or part of the business says yes, and the other part of the business or firm says no, it can be quite tricky to sell in ideas and concepts as to why things should be done or shouldn't be done. So if you are an employed professional, you will encounter those, even at senior level. You'll encounter times where you will be required to sell yourself, sell the ideas, sell the department, sell the industry. But this particular thing was around a service-based business. Now, this service-based business was offering something. And the distinction I make is, if I'm a product-based business, pens on my desk, I'm selling you these particular things, I can say to you, if I'm in a physical room with you, have a look at it, see if you like it, play around with it, write with it, see if you like the weight of it, and you get to touch it, you get to have a look at it, you might get to order it and send it back if it's not right. When it's a service, you are then left selling, explaining, articulating something that somebody can't see. And when that happens, there's a different kind of depth. But to make this easy to understand, I'm going to give you a few kind of tidbits, or as I like to say, juicy nuggets around selling with style. Because for so many, you know, service-based businesses out there, you might be an author, so you're selling your book. You might be an author who's selling the book and a way for people to work with your business or your company. You know, you might be a consultant who's a high-end consultant, you know, shouting out the lovely people at salesforce.com. Sometimes their job is to go into a particular business and, you know, not only sell Salesforce and customize it and everything else, train everybody, make sure it's on board, make sure it's fit for purpose. By the way, salesforce.com is a CRM, customer relationship management tool. So depending on what you're selling, there might be, I'm going to call it, I don't like to use the phrase low ticket or high ticket because that sounds a bit kind of derogatory, but there might be, if you consider three kind of layers. So there's a layer down here, which is a kind of a lower layer. It's not necessarily the premium layer. And it might be, if you're a service-based business, that's the place people come into. It might be that you're selling something that's, you know, low in monetary value, but high in value of the thing. So let's say, for example, a book is not going to be the same as selling a Lamborghini. Then you've got the medium area, the one that people will still need time to think about, but, you know, they're still likely to go ahead with it as long as you can describe the outcome, the benefits, the reasons why. So I'm going to go through a couple of different things. If you use the filter low, medium, high, okay, and I'll explain the nuances of each one, because sometimes people think it's about, well, if, you know, the price tag is particularly high, it means that there needs to be lots of things to offer. And I see this a lot in the coaching industry, in the mentoring industry, where people will like stack offer with bonus upon bonus upon bonus upon bonus. And the truth is, sometimes the people buying the stuff won't have the time to go through all of your bonuses, and sometimes they're not even relevant for the, you know, the thing that you're offering. I don't know, if you're selling time management, you might have a bonus that they get a free little timer with it because it helps with something that you do within your business. So think of this as low, medium, high. You'll see me looking down. I'm just making sure that I cover everything, and I will tick it off when it's done. So think of this as low, medium, high. So with selling with style and selling with flair and selling as you, It's very rare that a good sale works when it's been pushed on somebody or forced on somebody. Because if you push or force or coerce someone, think of, like, I don't know, you walking through a shopping centre and someone grabs you and they verbally pin you to the wall and you can't get away. You end up saying, okay, yes, I'll sign and donate whatever, or I'll sign and buy this subscription I don't even want. But the minute that you're in the safety of your car, safety of your home, if there's a get out clause, you're likely to use it. And that's simply because you might have been pushed into it. And a lot of people associate sales with that experience, and it doesn't have to be that way. I know this because I've worked with so many different industries now, so in all sorts of things, from holidays to memberships, a lot of the kind of associations, a lot of professional bodies, professional memberships, that is, a lot of them are actually selling either a qualification or a number of qualification outcomes, community, gravitas or whatever to their members. Whereas when you start to look at different types of industries, it might be that you're retail, you're selling clothing. It could be you're retail and selling beauty products, makeup, which are a few of the people that I've worked with over the years. Or you could be a brand that's known as a kind of a mid to high end brand, or you could be a high end brand. Now, I'm not going to talk about Lamborghinis as a high end brand. I'm going to use the example that I used when I was in discussion today. So, what are the things to consider for low, medium, and high-end brand when you're selling with style? And by the way, feel free to say hi in the comments below. If I don't catch them while they're live, I will come back and respond and say hi. So low, medium, high, medium, low, whichever way you want to slice it and dice it. There are a few things to consider. You need to consider why the person, I think with all of it, why the person, the business, the company, why are they likely to want this thing? And get that clear, because sometimes there's like a myriad of reasons, but it might be that you specialize in just one of those reasons. So think about why they might be interested, why they might want the thing, and then think about what the outcome is for them. Now, with some products and some services, you will need to go into a level of detail, whereas with some products and some services, it's kind of a bit vague. I don't know. I think I went to Alexandra Palace a few weeks back, and outside they had the bar area and food and stuff like that. I just happened to be standing by the donut stand, as you do, and I looked and I was like, oh, some of those donuts are a bit like heavily laden with like chocolate and icing and sprinkles. But the longer I stood there looking, the more I thought, well, if I don't want icing and chocolate and sprinkles, what would I have instead? Now, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I went for the basic, covered in sugar, and that was it. That's what I went for. Thank you for the thumbs up for those of you who have been putting thumbs up and things. I take that on Facebook. So I just went for that. I didn't have to have the donut. My life wasn't going to change drastically if I didn't. I just fancied it. And to be honest, standing there and smelling them and looking and knowing that I didn't want smoked duck or whatever was on offer. I'm not a beer drinker. I didn't fancy a beer. Did have a glass of wine. But, what better thing to do to have a donut and a wine? So sometimes the what can be really high level. I don't want to say vague, but there doesn't need to be a lot of detail. Fancy a donut? It's donut time. There's a little plug for the donut company. And then for some of the things you offer, you might need to go a bit deeper. So for those of you who run, like, I think of, and I'm going to shout out some amazing organisations. So the Institute of Travel and Tourism have got the Institute of Travel and Tourism Future You. And I've been blessed to have spoken on their stages, delivered some masterclasses, spoken to their students, spoken to some of the university lecturers. They are an amazing organisation. And it's a really great mixture of being skilled and training skills for the job, as well as kind of great motivation. Everyone I've ever met from there has been gorgeously lovely, you know. So something that they might want to do is they might want to go into the detail of why be part of their organization. And they might need to go a little bit deeper and give more detail so that new people coming into their world understand the value that they bring, why they're there, what they can offer, and how they can be supported. And, you know, for some of them, you'll need to go into a lot of detail. It could be that it's scientific. It could be that the level of detail needs to be deeper. So remember to think about why the person would be there and the level of detail. Like, what is it? High level, low level? An example I often give in sales trainings and talks that I give corporately is it's a bit like some people are wired to just jump in and go for it. And knowing which ones of those you are is helpful. So if somebody said to me, oh, there's a party on Saturday night, do you fancy coming? Depending on who the person is, if it's someone I know well and I like, and I'm not doing anything on Saturday night, I'm like to go, yeah, why not? Other people will say, well, I will do, but I need to know, like, how many people are going to be there? Where is it? How are we getting there? How are we getting back? Will we need to eat before we get there? Will there be food there? Who else is going? So people can be anywhere on the kind of like that sliding scale of, yeah, screw it, let's do it, to, where is it? London? Yeah, okay. Or I need all the details, times, everything. And this is an important element on sales because normally, especially when you're selling a service, people who are expert in what they do, they're so expert in what they do, they understand why it's important. They forget to say, you know, in creating my own visibility system, I've been in business since 2010, and it wasn't until 2018 that I actually articulated the ABC. That is the what visibility actually is and why it matters. Makes such a difference. But to actually tell people and remember to tell people so they can find themselves in wherever they are, and understand why it's important is important. And I come across this a lot, whether you're a team, a small team, a large team, one-man band, you know, or single business. It's, you know, it's really important to articulate that value. People will need to know how something's going to work. I'm not going to go into detail with that. And also they'll need to know how it could benefit their future. Now, particularly with service-based businesses, this is something that really does need to be kind of like, you need to dig a bit deeper, which is why, although it's in the 5th pillar, on the 1st pillar, when I talk about video and kind of live streaming and things like this, it's also important to dive a little bit deeper, dig a little bit deeper, and think about, well, what would be beneficial for them? That's all in the visioning process and all the stuff that we do there to be visible, to do video. Now, you've got these different things. Now, the conversation today we were talking about was around selling quite a high ticket thing, a premium priced product. And the example I'm going to use, because I'm looking at mine down there, is a Mulberry handbag. So imagine this, like just imagine this. You've had your eye on a gorgeous, gorgeous Mulberry handbag. You know what colour, the style. I think you're going to go for Bayswater maybe. You go into one of my favourite Mulberries, but don't all go there at once, near Bond Street in London, in St Christopher's Place. You go into that one, although they've got a nice one in Edinburgh as well. Take your pick. Any Mulberry, I'm sure, is available even online. But imagine you go in there, you know exactly what, you know, which bag, the colour and everything else. And your only job is to find out, is it still available? Have they got it in stock? So you go into the shop, you go up to the counter, or maybe you go and have a look around first. And then you say, okay, I'm looking for Mulberry bag, Bayswater, in, I don't know, green, brown, oxblood, whatever colour you go for. You already know enough detail about it. And the person says, not a problem, Jenny. Would you like to follow me? I'm going to take you upstairs to our 1st floor There, I'm going to introduce you to our general manager who's just going to give you some information about the bags. And you're a bit like, but I really want it. I really want it. Are they going to run through how to care for it, what it's made of? And you're thinking, I already know that. But it's part of their process. They would not let you buy that bag. This is not true, by the way, but let's imagine they would not let you buy that bag until you've been through that process. So you think, okay, you go up there, check your watch, got a bit of time, and you go there and they explain all of this stuff to you. And now you're like, but is it in stock? Yes. Can I just check on the pricing? Well, before we do that, we're going to take you back downstairs and there's a little form that we're going to get you to fill out. It'll be about half an hour on the form, but we really want to know that it's going to be a good mix for you and a good fit for, the bag's a good fit for you, you're a good fit for the bag. At this point, you'll be forgiven for becoming a little bit frustrated. Now, don't get me wrong, there are very kind of premium high-end products where you can't even walk into the shop. You need to make an appointment. It's appointment only, or it could even be invitation only, not available for this person or that person. None of these are good or bad, right or wrong. They're just different. But when you're selling with style, and specifically when you're selling a more kind of higher end product, having the customer jump through so many hoops becomes frustrating. And I will almost guarantee the conversation that I had with somebody today about their buying experience, they have just reversed the person round. Now, I think the reason that this has happened is they might have been burnt before, they might be jaded, but they haven't, in my opinion, looking from the outside in, they haven't dug deep into the why the person wants it, in which case it means that they're not sure on who their who is. They don't really understand what the person's, what the person specifically needs. So a suggestion would be when, the person is taken up to see the general manager and they're given all of this information, it's a good idea to actually listen to what they want as well. Because if they want the Mulberry bag in rainbow stripes with fur sticking out of the sides, and Mulberry has never done anything like that, will never, ever do anything like that, time can be saved on both ends. Okay, this is not going to happen. I'm so sorry. We have got other things that you can look at, but if this isn't for you, no problem. Have a look around the shop and, wish you good day. But then to make somebody go through other steps, not understanding what it is they want or the how or anything else like that, can actually have somebody decide not to buy. They start to disconnect with the brand, they start to disconnect with the buying process, and they actually start to have a really bad experience. And again, the reason for that is because sometimes when products are being sold or being offered, people aren't necessarily digging in deep enough where they need to. And the reason for that is sometimes people are inspired by other people, other brands and things they do. So they think, that person has done this, sold this thing in this way, I'm going to do that too. The problem with that is if your people are different, if your why is different, if their why is different, if the what you're offering at a high level or more detailed level is different, this happens. There's a mismatch. There's no meeting in the middle. People might come in like this, and then as the conversation or the sales process happens, they start to align and they go, yeah, both sides, we're a match, let's go for it. And it's a sad thing. I see this happen so much because the flip side of it from a visibility perspective is if it feels good for one and not for the other person, it's like dating. I really like them so much, but they don't like me. I'm going to chase them down the street. You don't want to do that. You want something where they say, this is for me. I think this is for me. And this side says, yeah, I think you're for us. And you have a match. You walk out with your bag, for example. So I must stress that Mulberry don't do this and didn't do this. And this is not about Mulberry. It's just an example as we were speaking. That's example I gave. So the other thing to consider when you're selling with style is from a pricing perspective, just because Mary Jane, Smith over there sells their thing for 10,000 or £10 doesn't mean that you have to. Something else to factor, which I'm not going to go into in this video because it's long enough as it is, it's actually 24 minutes and I'm going to end it very soon, is the hands-off, hands-onness of the situation. So if, for example, you're selling a book, everything's in the book, the description's on the cover, you might give a talk about it, but after that, somebody shouldn't need to speak to you for an hour to decide whether they're going to buy the book or not. They're either curious or they're not. Very hands-off. Something that's a bit kind of medium, maybe it's a service that you want to provide, freelance, and you want to make sure you're a right fit, and you want to discuss how much help. So is it that you're doing it for them, which isn't very kind of medium hands-off? Is it that you are doing it alongside them, or you're starting them off and then they go off with that? And then the high-end stuff might be hands-on. So, for example, as I've been like since September now, I've been planning how my year is going to look, the kind of things I'm going to do. I have been doing online events since 2014, online events, so even before the pandemic, and some offline events too. So I've started to put those in the diary. Now, for example, if somebody came to one of the Selling with Style days, and there's a small group of people, why would I choose a small group over a room of 200 people? In a room of 200 people, it'd be very hands-off. So, expenses and everything aside, my ticket price won't necessarily need to be, particularly high. I might not be, I might give a couple of handouts or something, but my expenses aren't going to be very high. And it's very hands-off. I give the information, people pick up what I put down, and that's a good fit for everybody. Whereas when I'm doing the small group days, I don't want more than 6 people in the room because I want everybody to have time to talk about their stuff that they're selling, any challenges that they might have, so that we can remedy it and have a plan in place that they can go out and know how to sell it. Just because people are in the same industry doesn't mean they need to sell it in the same way. It depends on why they're selling it, like the purpose of it, their what, high level, lower level, how it will benefit the person they're selling it to, and also, how to use it, how to proceed, how to get the best out of it. So when you're looking at those, that price might be different because in order to be able to get that experience, there will be more hands-on from me. And then the luxurious experience, the luxe version. This is one where people come to me and they say, yes, I want to be visible. Maybe I want to put my talk together, or I've got a talk and I want to kind of rip it apart, smash it up and put it back together. And I want to do that so that I can offer my services, sell it well. And these are reasons why people have worked with me in the past. They want to sell it well, but they've only got 10 minutes instead of 45 minutes, or they want to sell it well and they've been offered 90 minutes instead of their usual half an hour. They want to know things they can say, things not to say, what they can do, things really not to do. So with that, imagine on this luxurious experience, every time you think of, well, this is what I want to do moving forward, you put the ideas out, you give the words, and then by the next day, you've got some lovely graphics that you haven't even had to work on. You haven't had to pay your team to work on. That is going to be a more immersive experience. Adding those touches are going to make it a more immersive experience. And yes, you're likely to be in a nicer space for the luxurious event that I'm planning. Small amount of people, and that's fine. Small number of people, big benefits, big transformations, and a number of things where their ideas come out and I'm not even holding them to account to implement them. So you can see my crown if you want to, but I'm sure you don't want to. They're not even having to implement it. Somebody behind the scenes is getting that ready and it comes back to them. So by day 2, it's done. And they get to stay in a nice place and they get to eat nice food, which is all taken care of. No curly sandwiches on my watch. And they get a nice evening meal if they're staying over, time to socialize, network with the other people, let the ideas percolate, sit and rest, get some sleep if they have had the kids all week, that kind of thing. So that's very different and that's very hands-on. The support they get before, during and afterwards is very hands-on. So that has to be a higher ticket price, because whilst all of that stuff's being done either by me or somebody else that's assisting me, or other people that are assisting me, I cannot do any other work. I can't do any other business. So literally I have to cross out that time in my diary, in my calendar, the preparation for it. Now I could, get somebody else on board to do certain things, and that's okay too. But whilst you're focused on a certain premium kind of high level piece, very hands-on piece, high touch piece, then the pricing needs to be in accordance with that, but also so does the way that people buy it. Because this is not really about you selling it, it's about people buying it. So I will be running some of those things this year a number of times. So, if you are a CEO or a founder, if you are a venture capitalist, and maybe it's for you, or maybe it's for the people that you're investing into, or you're a business owner, do speak to me about those, because especially with the smaller groups, they will be very limited. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, you'll be able to see some of the pricing. And, I'll be transparent in that when I have a conversation with somebody and it's a good fit conversation, if they're able to take action very quickly and get it booked, and I'm not kind of talking about forcing them to book there and then on the phone. There's usually a period of time, a buffer. They go away, either sort finances out, get their head together, come back. Then I reward them for that, because it's a lot easier to have an aligned yes than me trying to persuade people, which is not what I do on calls. If you need to be persuaded, it might not be the right thing for you, which is okay, because then I have asked sufficient questions and can lead you in the right direction. So yeah, selling with style. That's what came out of a very long conversation that I had today. But if you are a person that offers products, services, and you definitely want to look at either low, medium, or high, get in touch. I think my last spaces went today, but get in touch. I can send you a calendar link. We can have a quick 15-minute conversation and find out what's right for you. In terms of the events, you will see some sales pages coming out beginning of next year, sort of end of the month. And if you've got any questions about how, well, that's the fifth pillar, so what are in all the others, let me know. I've got lots of stuff over my YouTube channel. I've got lots of stuff. In fact, I'll probably download this and put this on YouTube as well. Lots of stuff on my Facebook pages, lots of stuff on LinkedIn that I share in general. But if you're not sure about your own visibility, hop over to my LinkedIn account, have a look at the Visibility Boost quiz, or go to your browser and tap in or type in bit.ly. So B for Bravo, T for Thomas.ly / am I visible. Take you through a quiz, 23 questions, although it'll take you about 6 minutes on average, sometimes quicker than that. And it will show you, give you a score at the end and show you where you might want to increase or boost your visibility, and an opportunity about a week or so later, if you want to, just to discuss the findings with me. So there's lots of different ways that you can be visible. You can work with me and see me in the flesh, or you can suss me out online from a distance. Thank you so much. If you are thinking, oh, there was a few things I said I need to go back to this, then bookmark this, save this, and go back and re-listen, see what you think. But let me know what you got from this, most of all, and how you think you could use anything that I've said in your future selling with style and being visible. That's it. Bye for now.